Well, good evening and welcome to this round 4 NPL Victoria clash between the Dandenong Thunder and Altona Magic. Live from Dackland Stadium, George Andrews Reserve in Dandenong Thunder territory. My name is Bryce Ruthven, joined tonight in the commentary box by Demir Koulis. Good evening, Demir.
Good evening, Bryce. Pleasure to be here for another NPL fixture, and we're expecting a big one tonight with Dandenong Thunder obviously in some good form and Altona still searching for their first win of the season. Yeah, definitely. If you were to predict the two sides and where they'd sit at the table this time of the year, might have been roles reversed, but obviously the Thunder have had a couple of good rounds to start with, some good results, and obviously Magic only picking up 1 point with a draw last weekend against Hume City at home. Yeah, very much so. I mean, Altona Magic would be quite disappointed with the start that they've made. There's been a few of those games where they probably could have won it. You think back to that 7-goal thriller against the Melbourne Knights in round 2, as well as last week's 2-2 draw against Hume City, but it wasn't to be. So it'll be interesting to see whether they can do so tonight or whether Dandenong Thunder will continue their hot streak. Well, while we wait for the two captains to go and meet the referees for a friendly introduction, let's check out the team news, and we'll start with Altona Magic. A bit of team news there, Demir. Yes, so going through their lineup, they've got Daniel Collison in goal, Liram Almazi will be their right back, James McGarry and Troy Ruffin you'd think would be their two central midfielders. Johnny Stoichevsky's their left back. Daniel Kaczynski returns to the starting 11 for the first time since round 1 after a few weeks out with injury. Dusan Bosniak will be their playmaker. Ross Archibald will be at the back with Callum Richardson. Sammy Noor will be in an attacking role himself, probably on the flank, as well as the Dutch forward Michel Hemman, who will be marshalling the Altona Magic front line.
Yeah, definitely a couple of changes that are big out tonight. Robert Stambolziev, obviously our former Sydney FC player, played over in Europe as well, to see the two captains getting the pre-match photo as per usual. Ruthven sporting a man bun for the first time in 2019 as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Troy, whether that brings Troy a change of fortune when it comes to results-wise. I'll take you through to the Dandenong Thunder lineup as well. We've got Pierce Clark, who's been in tremendous form in goal. Omar Amache continues at right back. Giannis Georgopoulos will be their central midfielder. Nick Modafari will be partnered at centre-back by Jack Musgrave. At left-back, they've got Christian Cavallo. Mentioned Georgopoulos anchoring the midfield alongside Alun Blomgart. You've also got Blake Carpenter. He'll be on the left-hand side. Kieran Dover on the right. And the two that they have up front are Peter Skapedes, who's yet to get off the mark. I'm sure he'll be looking to do so tonight. And Brandon Barnes, who celebrated Thunder's 3-1 win last week with his 100th league goal for the Thunder.
Yeah, when you look at the two attacking lineups here tonight for both the Thunder and the Magic, definitely two of the strongest in the NPL Victoria for this season. Obviously with Hemman, the late season signing, or late pre-season signing I should say, for the Magic, and of course Peter Skapedes, a big name for Danny Thunder. As referee blows the whistle, but Christian Cavallo is still fixing a shoelace, so the referee hasn't taken much notice of that and he's just blown the whistle as we get underway.
Yeah, I don't think he'll impede Thunder. It definitely hasn't looked like it. I'll take you through to the two benches as well. As Dandenong Thunder will have Festim Soleimani, Kane Ranji, Luke Gallo, Mohamed Faizi and Jake Kushieri on the substitutes bench. And as for Altona, they'll have Robert Namoski, David Trajanowski, Yasin Noor, Sam Mitchelson and Shane Vidakangis.
As with every game too in the NPL Victoria this year on Facebook and YouTube, we'd love to see your comments coming through. We've got a few coming through early. Krabby saying Thunder 3-1 victory. We've got Betty Mindo Stajovski saying go Magic. And Georgie saying it should be a good game. Agree with you there, Georgie.
Your predictions, Bryce?
Look, obviously I've got a brother that's the captain of one of the sides, but putting that aside, I think the Magic could be looking for their first 3 points tonight. Obviously it's not the start to the season that they've won, as we see Sammy Noor called offside on the near side of the camera here, but I think could be a close one. I think there's goals in this one. Both defensives to start the season have been a bit leaky at times, so I'm thinking maybe a 3-2 victory to the Magic. What about yourself?
You sold the words right out of my mouth because I'm actually on the same page. I think that, we've seen in this round already from the 4 games, we've had two visiting teams collect 3 points, and 2 of those being Port Melbourne and Dandenong City that had yet to taste victory. So I think Altona will be leaving Dackland Stadium here tonight with 3 points in what will be an entertaining fixture.
We see Pierce Clark here on the ball, marching the troops forward and putting the ball out on the near touchline here. Looking at the size of both teams here, Demir matched up fairly evenly across the pitch.
Yeah, they have been. You look at Thunder's midfield has been quite stable since round one, even despite the 4-0 result as Noor is played through, but Madaffri will clean up.
Yeah, Noor locking him in the corner and winning a corner. Good start there from the Magic. Obviously, Ruthven playing a through ball to the near touchline here, getting him in behind. We've got Sammy Noor, obviously known around Victoria, having a bit of pace, so the Magic will try and exploit that across the 90. George Andrews was there.
Yeah, he's definitely got a bit of trickery to his game as McGarry prepares to take this corner. Well cleared by Georgopoulos, out for another corner kick.
Bit of smoke haze around Melbourne as well. Bit of smoke haze around Melbourne as well. Obviously, we've had the bad fires out towards Bunyip and Yanar South in the Latrobe Valley, and obviously the wind's bringing a bit of smoke haze here around Dandenong as well.
Yeah, it's been a very misty afternoon. And a goal for Altona Magic.
Yeah, Ruthven with the shot there, a bit of a deflection at the far post, and it snuck in for a third-minute goal. Don't know who you'd give that one to. Would you give it to Ruthven or maybe an own goal?
Look, I think Troy, when he took the shot, it was goal bound, so I'm always in favour of giving the attacking team the goal there with the Ruthven, of course, taking the shot. I think that it's a well-deserved goal for him.
Yeah, definitely the start that the Magic will be looking for away from home. Going back to the Magic's form in 2018 in NPL 2, they were known as a side that actually was strong on the road, but when they came to home matches at Paisley Park, they used to drop points here and there. You think that form will continue into the NPL, obviously being round 4 now, and they kind of only picked up 1 point at home last week against Hume City, but I think, do you think the fortunes could favour that again this year?
Yeah, look, Paisley Park Soccer Complex was always known as the tough place to visit, and I was a bit surprised to see that Altona haven't picked up 3 points from their 2 opening games. I mean, you look at that first one against Green Gully at nil-all, they had a penalty that Dusan Boshniak had saved by Jared Tyson. So they've definitely had the opportunities. I think it's just about converting their chances, which they haven't been able to do, and a team like Thunder have it over the last 2 weeks. So who knows, maybe the fortunes might favour the Magic tonight. And it certainly looks to be the case with the start that they've made.
As we see Noor coming down the right touchline here. Whips the ball in. Attracts a corner for the Magic. We'll see if we can get...
Apologies for the few technical difficulties that we're having, but we're back on.
As McGarry looks to take the corner here for Altona Magic. Numbers at back post. Looking for a second early goal here at George Andrews Reserve as the ball's whipped in. And for a goal kick.
And following up from my comment about Paisley Park Soccer Complex, Georgie Markowski has written in saying that Paisley Park is a hard field, hard to play on because of the field, needs a redevelopment of the field and complex. You've spent a bit of time down there watching your brother play, of course, Bryce. How do you find Paisley Park Soccer Complex when you compare it to some of the other grounds of Victorian football?
Well, when you look at the pitch here at George Andrews, it's like carpet, and I suppose Paisley Park obviously has had a few people make comment about its surface. Facilities-wise, it's a pretty daunting place for your away team to go to, but the pitch itself a bit bobbly as we see a switch here to the right-hand side. But getting back to your comments there as we get Noor slipped into the hands of Pierce Clark. Yeah, the pitch itself, don't know if they did any work in the pre-season to get it up to scratch, but obviously it can be used to your advantage as well. If you're Altona, you're obviously training on it a couple of nights a week, so you're getting used to it, and away teams will definitely find it difficult to play on. As you see the ball coming down the left-hand side here. Slipped in, taking it down to the byline, out for another corner to Altona Magic.
Yeah, first look tonight for many of us with Daniel Kaczynski coming back into their Magic lineup, the North American who Altona signed midway through last season, if I stand to be corrected, from Geelong in State League 1, and he's a player that's been making waves since moving down to Victoria in 2017. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight as McGarry prepares to take another corner.
Ball's whipped in. Across the face. Has it got a touch? Almazi seems to think not. Nope, he's been given an Altona Magic throw-in from near the side touchline here. Yeah, it's an interesting comment you make there, Demir, about the step up for someone like Daniel from NPL 2. Obviously, he was a quality player in that league last year, scored plenty of goals, and I think that's where Altona are still trying to find their feet, making a step up. Obviously, they were confident going in and built quite a strong squad in the off-season, and I think it's just might take them a couple of rounds, as we've seen, to find their feet.
And no surprises, the Altona Magic Facebook page has credited Troy with the goal, so I'm sure he'd be looking for you to commentate more of his games given the perfect start that he's made to this one.
Yeah, I think he's known for enjoying a long shot at times as the ball's whipped out to Brandon Barnes. Unlucky touch there, and it's whipped forward by Almazi. Onto Buzniak. Out to Kaczynski again, down the left-hand side. Finds McGarry in the middle with a bit of space. Tries to force a pass and gets it turned over to Brandon Barnes, to Skapetis. Charging forward. And a shot there by Georgopoulos. Nice bit of play there by the Thunder. First attacking fray there from Skapetis. Obviously looking to try and get him involved as much as they can. During the pre-season, I actually had a chat to him, and they were saying that they were looking at deploying him as more of a attacking midfielder this year instead of a winger or a striker as we've seen in the A-League.
Yeah, Peter Skapetis obviously had a good chance to get his debut Thunder goal last week, but he missed that penalty kick that he skied over the bar. It didn't matter in the end too much because Thunder ended up scoring shortly afterwards and it didn't come back to haunt them. But yeah, definitely a player with a lot of attacking versatility, and he can trouble teams, particularly when you look at his pace, and he's a solid body as well on him. So Skapetis, I think, will be hungry to, as I said, break that goal-scoring drought that he's had to start this season.
Yeah, I think when Goran Lovzanovsky looked at the team sheet tonight for the Thunder, he definitely would have had a role for someone in the team, maybe Ruthven or McGarry, man-marking Skapetis, especially in that front third. He's dangerous, and we've seen the first couple of rounds, even though he hasn't gotten a score sheet, as you just mentioned, skying a penalty last weekend. He's definitely looked an attacking threat for the Thunder, and they're going to try and use that throughout the 2019 season. We see Ross Archibald on the ball here, playing it back to the goalkeeper. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, looks like a change of keeper from what has been named on the starting team. It looks like Shane Vitakangas in goals.
Yeah, that definitely does look like Shane Vitakangas. So it is a late change to the Magic lineup that we weren't made aware of. So, look, Shane Vitakangas, this is his third season in Victoria. The last 2 seasons he spent at the Bulleen Lions. His 2017 was... he spent much of it sidelined through injury, but he's a goalkeeper with some pedigree to him. South Melbourne fans won't have too many fond memories of him, given that he was the goalkeeper in that penalty shootout between them and the Palm Beach Sharks all the way back in the 2015 edition of the FA Cup that ultimately ended up with the Sharks knocking out at South Melbourne.
Yeah, as you said, one of many Queenslanders plying their trade here in the NPL Victoria. As you see, Christian Carvalho on the ball here at the left back. And the Thunder just trying to clear their lines up to Brandon Barnes, who obviously last season finished a golden boot tally on top of the ladder. Obviously, you're hoping for another great season as they bring the ball out wide, and there's a slip over here on the near touchline.
Yeah, the player who slipped was Blake Carpenter, who has been very impressive for the Thunder in the opening 3 rounds. Had an assist to his name in the round 2 win over Kingston, and followed it up with a goal and another assist against the Oakley Cannons in that 3-1 win last Friday night.
Ball's played back to Peace Clark. Out to Modafiari. Looking for options in front. Not too much on offer here. Forced to play it short into Brandon Barnes. Out to Carvalho on the near touchline here with a great ball down the line here. Just couldn't pick his man there. Ross Archibald collects it there at the back. Magic looking to play it short out through Ruthven. Finds McGarry, who's under a bit of pressure. The Thunder appealing for a handball, though I don't think I saw too much there, Demir.
Yeah, I think it was more optimistic rather than actually legitimate. But it'll be interesting to see. I think we're looking at through the Altona Magic team sheet. You look at the central midfield pairing of Ruthven and McGarry. They're two of the best in their positions in Victorian football, and it'll be interesting to see if they can make the most of that as the season goes on.
And I don't know about you, but it looks like Magic might have changed the formation from past weeks to the traditional 4-4-2, where it looks like they were playing 4-3-3 with Dusan Bosniak playing as a number 10. As we see a shot there from Brendan Barnes put over the back car park, but it looks like they've gone to more of a flat 2 with obviously Dusan dropping in to collect the ball, but obviously helping out Hemmen up top.
Yeah, the way that they are positioned currently suggests that Hemmen is the central striker with Bosniak as the 10 and Knorr and Kaczynski providing width on the flanks in a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how their defence does cope, because it's a new look defence for them. They've a few of the players that they had last season in there are no longer there. Ross Archibald is probably one of the best defenders in this league, given what he's been able to achieve with the likes of Bentley Greens and Avenel over the last few years. Has been recruited, as have former Green Gully pair Callum Richardson and Sam Mitchelson, who are both originally from Western Australia and have had a slight taste of A-League action with Melbourne Heart / Melbourne City beforehand. So they're banking on their defenders to make them a more stable force in defence this season. Obviously, there's a massive step up between NPL 1 and NPL 2 as Blumgard goes in hard on Knorr. Altona aren't happy about it. Thunder aren't happy that the referee has stopped play.
Yeah, Sammy Knorr down the line here as the physio is called on. Brendan Barnes having a word to the referee here about letting the play go forward. I think in this situation, if a player is clearly injured, he's sitting up now, but which is a good sign to see. But I think you've got to stop the play and see if the actual player that is down on the pitch is all right. You never know the seriousness of the injury.
Yeah, particularly, I mean, I know this isn't one of those incidents, but with head clashes, with what we've learned to know in the past few years and how severe that they can be, that is one thing that referees are looking to do straight away when an incident like that happens. But it'll be interesting to see how Knorr adopts to life at Altona Magic, because I think one of the things in his game that really needs improving on is consistency. On his day, he's one of the best attackers in this league, but the thing is, we probably haven't seen enough of those days in the past 18 or so months or 2 years that he was at Green Gully and then later at Kingston, where he spent a good 18 months at. He came into the NPL back in 2016 with Bulleen Lions under Don Barber in tremendous form. He was really the attacking line wire that they did have the Lions that season, and he definitely was one of the more spectacular players in the league, but he has been able to replicate that form on a more consistent basis. So I think the move to Altona, he is playing for alongside a lot of good attackers, is one that might reap a lot of rewards for him as the season goes on, if he can get consistency to his game and also stay fit as Altona breakaway now.
Yeah, Ruthven on the ball, playing out wide to Dusan Bosniak, goes in for the slide, and a bit of a scrappy challenge there. Finds Kaczynski, who has a shot, and it's in. It's a goal for Magic. 2-0 in the 15th minute here. Great bit of play by the Magic, Demir.
Yeah, it was fantastic perseverance from Dusan Bosniak to find Daniel Kaczynski in the box, and Kaczynski settled himself, and the Californian finds himself with his first goal in NPL Victoria football.
Yeah, Ruthven playing a part in both the early goals here for the Magic. Obviously, they're going to try and get him on the ball as much as possible. Him and McGarry. Obviously, McGarry starting the season on the bench, round 1 against Green Gully. Might have kind of put that bit of a spark into him for the next couple of rounds. As we've seen last weekend, he had a good game against Hume City as well, and tonight it started quite well with Ruthven in the middle.
Yeah, look, James McGarry is a player that whenever I watched him always impresses, whether it was at the Bentley Greens all that time ago or at Bulleen and Melbourne Knights. He's definitely a player with a lot to his game as Thunder mount an attack.
Playing around the edge of the box to Brendan Barnes, who loses possession. Modafiari playing it out to Cavallo on the near touchline. Finding Blumgard.
As we have said, we are live and interactive tonight, as we always are. As Cavallo plays in Barnes, who beats the offside trap.
No, he's actually been called offside by the far linesman there, Demir. But obviously, we are on Facebook and YouTube Live. You got a few comments?
Yeah, we've got a few people watching from all different parts of the globe. We've got Frank Jimenez watching from Barcelona, Spain. We've also got Nick and Tatiana who are watching from Nagambie. Now, Bryce, I must admit that my knowledge of Australian towns, particularly interstate, isn't the best. Can you tell us where Nagambie is?
Nagambie. To be fair, I've lived around a fair few parts of Australia, but I have never heard of that location. But we thank you very much for joining us from that location. Obviously, if you'd like to put a message through as we jump on Google, Nagambie, it's in Goulburn Valley. Well, there you go, not too far from Melbourne.
Yeah. Just north of Seymour, so metropolitan Melbourne isn't too far away, as you have alluded to, but definitely will. Given the Thunder have gone behind, we'll look to see a lot more of those floating balls to trying to pick up Brandon Barnes, who's one of the best in the business when it comes to just playing off the shoulder of his defender and getting played through.
Yeah, some comments coming through as McGarry forces the Thunder back to Modafieri, saying that the Thunder look like they've just got a that'll-do mentality. I think it's a bit harsh in the 17th minute to make that call, because I think it's just the Magic, obviously, with a high press and having a good amount of possession here to me.
Yeah, and as we said, the Magic going forward once again with McGarry on the ball. As I said, Altona needed to start the game quite well given the poor start to the season. They definitely have done so as Vidakangas launched the goal kick up long with Modafieri heading it away. And Modafieri must have had a tough week or so, because if I'm stand to be corrected, but I believe he is from Bunyip. He still lives there, and we know that people over there have had a tough with the Fires.
Yeah, the Dandenong Thunder have actually tried to tap into the Gippsland market in the off-season, taking a game out there against Doveton, obviously having Carpenter living out that way still, and obviously the Fires. You can see a bit of smoke haze maybe on the cameras as well, that he's hanging around the Dandenong region still, as we see McGarry on the ball, finds Kaczynski. Has a bit of an unlucky touch, I should say, not a bad touch there. But Carvalho's in the ball at the back here on the edge of the 18-yard. Plays it back to Peace Clark, who plays it short. Looking for options in front, finds not Skapetis there. We get down the right-hand side here for the Thunder. We've got Carpenter at the back stick here, free. Gets the ball in the head to Skapetis, who plays it short into Blumgart, turns on the ball, whips the ball in, and it's cleared by the Magic.
Yeah, a bit of history to this clash, because it was 10 years ago that these two teams had met at the 2009 VPL Grand Final, and from memory, Altona Magic snatched that one late into extra time. I think it might have been Clement Taseski, who shortly afterwards got an A-League contract with the newly formed Melbourne Heart, who was the player of the game in that one, or might have even been the match winner. But yeah, definitely a bit of history between these two teams. Obviously, they've had contrasting fortunes in the 10 years since. The Thunder, of course, going to avenge that grand final loss by beating Oakley in 2012, winning the treble that season. But they've spent a bit of time in NPL 2 since then as well, and it's only last year that they returned back into the top flight of Victorian football. But Altona Magic was a club that was really struggling a few years ago in the third tier of Victorian football, had missed out on the NPL, but they've done tremendously well since about 2015 to get themselves back into the Victoria's premier footballing competition.
And speaking of the A-League, we do have a game tonight. The Central Coast Mariners hosting the Wellington Phoenix at Central Coast Stadium. Pretty sure Teo's on that game as well.
Yeah, he is. So shout out to Teo Pellizzeri, who I'm sure is going to have an interesting call tonight. I know it might not be the most spectacular of A-League fixtures, but generally, as we've seen in the last few weeks, a lot of those ones that there isn't a whole lot to play for, particularly if you're the Central Coast, do end up having a lot of goals in those games.
Yeah, well, there is a bit of interest around that clash night, because we could be seeing maybe one new member of the Western United newly formed A-League team, Mark Rudin, possibly jumping ship, you could say, or coming across the ditch back to Melbourne, and obviously Connor Payne signing a contract too, it's rumoured, with the new Western Melbourne franchise. Obviously there's a few plays on show in the NPL Victoria at the moment, players like Skapetis, Carvalho, who are obviously pushing their case for an A-League contract maybe with the new Western United team.
Well, I mean, when you look at the three players from Victoria that have burst out onto the scene this year. You've got Matt Miller, who was previously in the A-League setup with Melbourne City. He's now found his way back into it, and he's done tremendously well for a struggling Mariners team. You've had Elvis Kamsoba, who arrived in Victoria from South Australia, so it's an interstate signing who has been, quite a good signing for the Melbourne Victory, and also a player like Kane Shepherd, who originally came back to Australia as a 19, 20-year-old from England. If you're a lot of these players, given the success that not only those three but the likes of Dylan Wenzel Halls have had, you'd definitely be looking to make a name for yourself this season, particularly with Western United coming in to the A-League. And also, never before have A-League teams have had greater access to the NPL. They don't even need to go to the games now. They can just watch them live through the streaming channels, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. So they definitely should be keeping an eye out on a number of players in NPL Victoria as the season goes on.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, New South Wales announcing that their NPL will be streaming live matches as well. Queensland, the first for 2019 to announce that too. So plenty of coverage, as Demir just said, if you like your NPL fix across the country. As I said, the ball played out for Altona Magic throw-in. Stajovski throwing this one in to Ruthven, getting a touch and just dropping it off. Stajovski looking for an option, finds Ruthven. We'll open it up to Ross Archibald and play back to the keeper. Vidakangas goes long, it finds Kaczynski, but he's called offside on a near touchline here by the linesman.
Yeah, I mean, given the start that Dandenong Thunder had, your mind turns back to that round one opening season clash against Hume City, where they fell behind 3-0 inside the opening half hour and never recovered from that. So they'll definitely be looking to keep it tight at the back from now onwards and be successful on one of the attacks that they have. But Ruthven has the ball now and he goes to McGarry.
We can't forget too, obviously, the round two clash between Magic and the Melbourne Knights at Knight Stadium, where the Magic actually did go up early and it went tit for tat for the whole 90 minutes until the very end, where Magic ended up falling at defeat 4-3, was it? Yeah, 4-3 in the end there. So hoping for first points of the air is Norse going long. Long ball finds Pierce Clark, who clears it wide.
And one of the things that you'd imagine Dandenong Thunder can also attest to from their experience of going from NPL 2 up into the NPL is that it might take you a few rounds to actually find your feet at this level, because generally mistakes that aren't maybe punished in NPL 2 are punished in NPL 1. So you can, perhaps give Altona, cut them some slack for the poor start that they have had to the campaign. But then again, they have signed a lot of experienced players, the likes of Bosniak and Archibald, who have been there, done that when it comes to Victorian football. So maybe no excuses. What are your opinions on that, Bryce?
Yeah, look, we've seen teams come in from promotion for NPL 2, as you see Bosniak here taking on three players in the Altona Magic box, finds Hemman, who has a shot. And the ball's cleared into Pierce Clark. Yeah, getting back to your question, we haven't seen too many teams come into the NPL 1 from NPL 2, East and West, that have really skyrocketed to the top of the ladder. I think Altona Magic had a fair bit of hype around them due to their pre-season form, which obviously is understandable, and they played some big teams, got some big scalps as well. But it's one of those things where, obviously, if you see some names on paper, it's a great thing. Prime example, Oakley Cannons, I think, this year as well. They've got a great team on paper, but we all know how they're sitting at the moment. So it's one of those things where, look, the names can be there, but unless they're putting it together and gelling as a team, you never know what happens. That could be an attitude thing. It could be just down to players not understanding their roles at the moment, but it's just one of those things to me.
Yeah, and I think, you look at football, whether it's at a local level or worldwide. I mean, you saw it in midweek with the Champions League, both Ajax and Manchester United completing unlikely comebacks against more fancied opponents who had superstar lineups but weren't just able to put it together. And I think that, the Magic and the Cannons have both had patchy starts to the campaign, as we know. Maybe a bit of time to find their feet, given that there have been quite heavy player turnover at both clubs. But I think that, come the winter months, I think you'll see a bit of a separation between the teams that are chasing for a finals position and those ones that are probably going to be battling away against relegation and as a free kick gets called here. Bosniak flicked the ball up looking for Kaczynski, who was fouled by Amache, who picks up a yellow card. I think he just might have pulled back his man. Might be one of those ones that he does take for the team, because had Kaczynski been played through there, he might have had a good opportunity on goal.
Yeah, that was a chance there, and a deserved yellow card for the Dandenong Thunder as we see McGarry on the ball. They've got numbers in the box here. Altona Magic looking for a third in the 27th minute. George Andrews reserve. Referee blows the whistle. And McGarry's free kick over hit there. Bit of a wasted opportunity there. They had good numbers in the box.
Yeah, they did. And Pierce Clark has had a busy start to the evening, as he has had over the first three games of the season. But he's been in tremendous form. He, I think, was the difference between them and potentially dropping points against both Kingston and Oakley. He's pulled off some spectacular saves, and again, he's another player from interstate that would be looking to get himself back into the A-League spotlight, given that he did spend a bit of time a few seasons ago with the Newcastle Jets youth team, and also sat on the bench for the seniors in the A-League on a handful of occasions.
Yeah, and just scrolling through the hashtag NPL Vic on Twitter, see a previous result from earlier this afternoon at Avondale, beating South Melbourne 4-0 to go top of the NPL Victoria ladder.
Yeah, Avondale have had a tremendous start to the campaign. I was there round one to watch them dismantle Dandenong City 4-1 in a fantastic individual performance by Tasuki Sakaya, the new Japanese import, and they've continued on the good form since then, results-wise. A few comments coming through. We've got Andrew Bevan, who's saying that he's watching from England. Big fan of Brandon Twinkletoe Barnes. Watched him play for Paulton Rovers in our promotion-winning team. It looks like he needs a bigger shirt. I thought it was myself running around there. So I think it's been quite noticeable that maybe Brandon Barnes has put on a bit of kilos in pre-season, but he definitely didn't diminish his effectiveness last week with that 100th league goal for Dandenong Thunder being scored after only 80 games in league colours, in Thunder colours, since joining from Waitakere United in New Zealand in 2016.
Well, my club I'm involved with in the Latrobe Valley League, Churchill, we actually had the Thunder come out during pre-season and played Doveton, and Brandon Barnes was out there that night, obviously as the captain, and there was a few whispers around it. He was carrying a few niggles during the pre-season, so maybe he's brought that into the first couple of early rounds here in the NPL Victoria. As we see the ball spread wide by Kieran Dover, finds Christian Carvalho, who whips the ball in from the left-hand side. El Mazi deals with it, and he'll put it out for a corner.
Yeah, a few other comments coming through. Alison McGarry, who I assume is related to James McGarry, watching from Hull, England. Sharon Sheridan, watching from Toowoomba, and I assume she's also related to Keegan Sheridan of Dandenong Thunder.
Yeah, a lot of interstate viewers, and we thank you very much for joining us either on the Facebook live stream or, of course, YouTube as well. Don't forget, every game in the 2019 season brought to you live here as well. Great initiative, and obviously something that a lot of football fans have been excited to hear the news about in the early couple of rounds, as we see the Thunder with the ball, finding Skapitis in the middle, dropping it off to Blumgart, finds Brandon Barnes. Just a bit of a mix-up here, trying to find their feet. Going back to Modafiari, with Mikel Hemman putting a bit of pressure and forcing it onto the head of Rossa Archibald, who now finds Bosniak, who takes a bit of a big touch, regathers the ball. Skapitis comes in for a challenge, but the referee waves play on. The ball's at the back with Almazi.
Yeah, and we did mention that these two teams have a bit of history in their previous occasions. I mean, it's a bit of a derby when you consider the foundation of both clubs in terms of their fans and the origins. Of course, Altona is a club founded by Macedonian migrants. Dandenong Thunder, likewise, by Albanian migrants who predominantly hail from a town in Macedonia called Bitola. So a bit of a derby in more ways than one between these two teams.
And if you've just joined us, the Magic got 2 early goals and currently lead 2-0 in the 31st minute here at Duckland Stadium as Ruthven wins the ball off Carpenter, who throws his body in. And the Thunder, they're going to throw in on the near touchline here with Christian Carvalho. Looking for an option forward. He's got Skapetis ahead of him. Carpenter as well. We'll find Carpenter in the middle. He's turned to Ruthven. Finds Brendan Barnes, who tries to unleash a shot, but it's just cleared there on the 18-yard box. Magic trying to scrap it out, and Barnes attracts a foul.
Yeah, it was a fantastic block there by the Magic captain, the Magic left back, Johnny Stojcevski, who put his body in not only on the latter occasion, but also to block that Barnes shot. And he's definitely had a good start to the campaign, given that he's found himself on the assists board twice with 2 assists against Melbourne Knights in that 4-3 defeat. He'll definitely be looking for a more solid defensive contribution from his side this evening. And to be honest, they have made a good start.
Yeah, just watching the Thunder here nearly play with a switch from Carvalho. Great ball out to the right-hand side. It's going to be put out by... Nope, Stojovski has kept it in. Just looking at the right-hand side, they've been using a lot of this left-hand side with Carvalho and Carpenter. Maybe they need to look at getting Amachi involved a bit more. Also, Kieran Dover on the far side.
It's a fantastic boy from Ruthven finds Sammy Noor here on the right-hand side, and he beats his man Carvalho, and referee has called the free kick. Callum Richardson's asking the question of whether an advantage should have been given, and you can imagine Christian Carvalho might find himself in the book. No, referee Giannis Zizas is walking away from the incident, and he won't card Carvalho, which I must admit is a bit of a surprise. I thought it was a yellow card offence, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, definitely got lucky there, Carvalho. I thought that was a definite yellow card on the near touchline here. You've got McGarry on the ball, the skipper Ruthven having a chat to him, obviously letting him know what he wants with the ball here. We've seen the Magic set up here a couple of free kicks and corners here. They seem to leave a man on the edge of the box here. And the Thunder aren't picking up in Ruthven. As we see, the ball whipped in, who finds Ruthven, who is free, has a hit again from a similar position to where he got his goal. But Carpenter clears his lines to Brandon Barnes, who's holding the ball up quite strong here. It's what he's known for in the NPL Victoria. He finds it there, spreads it wide. Plenty of space here for Amachi. And a sliding tackle from Malmazi. The linesman's waved a free kick. The referee's just said play on. And he's now called a free kick.
Yeah, Almazi just went fully blooded into that tackle, and he caught Amache. And I think we mentioned Carvalho was lucky to escape without a yellow card. I think Almazi will be even more so lucky if he manages to do the same, because that was definitely a rash challenge, and he has been booked, Liram Almazi.
Yeah, I think it was a deserved yellow card, that one, but obviously a bit unlucky given moments ago Carvalho escaped the referee's notebook there. So keep your comments coming through, of course, Facebook Live and on the YouTube stream here as well from George Andrews Reserve. It is Altona Magic and the Dandenong Thunder. The current score 2-0 to Altona Magic.
Yeah, and Almazi, a former North Sunshine Eagles player, and the State 1 side actually played here this afternoon against Old Brighton in the FA Cup with a 4-1 victory to advance to the next stage, and they are generally seen as a team that is quite good at the at FA Cup time of season, as we see Thunder prepare to take this free kick.
Yeah, Carvalho on the far touchline there, looking to whip it in with his left peg. The ball comes in, finds the head of Ruthven. Sammy Noor in a battle there. Ball comes wide to Peter Skapetis, who's standing up Mitchinson. The Thunder trying to work this near touchline, trying to find the channel, trying to attract the referee attention, but no, it's unsuccessful. And the Magic win a throw-in on the near touchline here. Ross Archibald trying to get into his troops from the back. They're just saying get a bit tighter on the near touchline here. Obviously, there's a few spaces opening up for the Thunder to try and express themselves a little bit, but obviously not taking their chances when they've got the opportunity.
No, they've struggled to find a precision in front of goal that they had in round 2 and round 3, because they didn't have a lot of chances throughout the course of both 90s, but they definitely made the most of them when they did, as Bosniak commits the foul there.
As you see, a free kick awarded to the Dandenong Thunder from a foul from Dusan Bosniak. Sammy Noor and Carvalho playing tit for tat here, just in front of the camera. Trying to find a position for the free kick to be taken, which it has been by Carvalho. The switch finds the head of Stojovski. Kaczynski on the ball. In a battle there with Amachi on the far left-hand side. Not a bad crowd in tonight, Saturday night here in Dandenong. Obviously a bit of a smoke haze around, but obviously having a few games beforehand with the FFA Cup, as you just said, the State League 1 fixture. What are you thinking about? 400 to 500 maybe?
Yeah, I'd say maybe 500-600 here at Dackland Stadium. I mean, one of the good things that Dandenong Thunder do is when it comes to fixturing, they generally play their home games at 7 o'clock on a Saturday evening, as opposed to a lot of the other rivals from this part of Melbourne. When you think about Bentley Greens, Oakley Cannons, Dandenong City, they all play Friday night games, so it probably allows the Thunder to attract more people to their games than they would had they, played on Friday nights as well, which has been quite jam-packed in recent weeks, with 4 to 5 fixtures being played on a Friday night.
As you see Carvalho coming down the near touchline, won by Sammy Noor. Great bit of play there from the right-hand winger. Plays out wide to Dusan Bosniak. Kaczynski makes a near post run. Finds Kaczynski on this near touchline, who whips the ball across to McGarry, who holds the ball well and will win his team a corner. No, it's been awarded a goal kick.
Yeah, I think it just might have ricocheted off McGarry there, and a goal kick was correctly awarded. Noor has looked the goods in this first half, I must admit. It was one player that I highlighted needs more consistency in his game, and he's definitely been a spark going forward for the Magic, as have all 4 of their forwards, really. I've been really impressed with Kaczynski, and Bosniak is looking like his old self. I'm sure Hemmen will be looking to get his name on the score sheet as well.
Speaking of him, and there has been a lot of talk about him and his form with the ball from Ruthven, Kaczynski being found offside here. Great ball on the left side. Back to Hemmen. Been a lot of talk about him coming in as a late pre-season signing for the Magic. Obviously, his CV is on. I think Teo Palazero said the same thing as well. It's actually better than a lot of foreign players in the A-League at the moment. How do you think he's found his feet so far in the opening rounds of the NPL?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got 2 goals in 3 games, which is a fairly decent start, and if he can get one tonight, his goal scoring rate will be one of the best in the competition as the ball gets played out to Carvalho here.
Whips the ball across, finds a header to Stojevski. Cleared by Almazi, but only as far as Amachi. Back to Stojevski again, who plays it long. Gives his Magic side a chance to get up and regroup, reset their formation. As the ball is played out to Montefiore. Looking for an option in front. Finds Carvalho higher this time. He whips it into Carpenter, who finds Skapetis with a bit of space in the middle of the pitch. Spreads it wide to Dover, who has a shot. Finds hands of Vitakangas, who's a great finish, and it's cleared off the line there by Almazi. But only as far as a Dandenong Thunder player. His second shot, straight into the hands again of Vitakangas in goals.
Yeah, once again, good defensive hustle from Altona to get that ball out of danger. Dover had a shot that was well saved by Vitakangas, and just as it looked like it was spilling to Skapetis for the rebound, they did well to get a block in there, which essentially took a lot of power off the shot and ensured that it was safely cleared just before it hit the line. A few comments coming in the comment section by Matt Sultana and Peter Tadagakis about Thunder's home form, because they definitely have looked like 2 different teams, home and away, and surprisingly they've looked like the better team when they played away this season.
Yeah, I did make that comment earlier on. Their NPL 2 form last year definitely showed that as well, that Paisley Park, even though it's their home ground, doesn't seem to suit them, especially this year in the opening rounds, obviously getting their first points of the season last weekend against Hume City with a 1-1 draw. As the corner's whipped in, finds Ross Archibald, but it's cleared off the line by Skapetis, who finds Brendan Barnes, and now it's out-muscled by Richardson. Not something you usually hear. Brendan Barnes getting out-muscled.
Yeah, Richardson, I think, is a really quality defender when he is fit. That's been one of the problems with him over the last 3 seasons that in Victoria with Green Gully is that he'd miss a large chunk of games due to injury, and I think if he can get his body right, he'll definitely be key for Altona and maybe even showcase himself to be one of the best defenders in the league, because he did come into the competition with a decent pedigree. Before his move to Gully, he had been a short-term signing for Melbourne City in the A-League, and prior to that he had actually spent time with Burnley in England, so he's definitely got a lot of pedigree to him, and he'll be looking to stay injury-free over the course of this season.
Yeah, Kieran David whips the ball in from the right-hand side, but only finds the hands of the Altona Magic keeper. Vidakangas getting his first start tonight as well for the 2019 campaign. Had a couple of games in pre-season. Found himself on the bench for the opening rounds, but obviously a change has been made by Goran Lozanovsky, and so far a clean sheet in the opening 42 minutes.
Yeah, and Vidakangas is another player who, as I mentioned earlier, in 2017 got signed by Bulleen but spent most of the season on the sidelines through injury. It's interesting given that they had such a good goalkeeper in NPL 2, Rani Dawisha, who is now at Richmond, who also got an FA Cup victory today by beating South Springvale 2-0 away from home.
Yeah, there's a good bit of confidence shown there by Vidakangas to come on out. Obviously having Brendan Barnes run down yards from you can be a bit of a nervous sight. The best of times he'd done well there, the young keeper. McGarry finds a ball out left to Kaczynski. Running one-on-one, has a shot, finds McGarry, who has a pick again, finds his own player in Dusan Bosniak, who questions the shot there. Got a breakaway here by the Denny Thunder. Musgrave on the ball, plays it out to Carpenter, who cuts in and wins the foul with Archibald and Ruthven coming in, both questioning the decision, but definitely a free kick on the edge of the box there.
Yeah, Ruthven just came in a bit too strong. I think he's another one of those that it looks like he's going to get a talking to from the referee. Maybe on another day he might have gotten a yellow for that one, but how's the run from Jack Musgrave, the big centre-back, with a slalom run into his own attacking half, and he definitely did well with his contributions in that build-up to that attack.
Yeah, I think that's what the Dandenong Thunder coaching staff will be looking for more of in the second half. Obviously a great bit of play there by Musgrave, but it's the first we've seen in the first opening stanza, as we've got Christian Carvalho and Skapetis lining up for the free kick here. Probably more suited to Skapetis. Knowing his form from the opening rounds, he'll probably have a bit of a shot on target here. Not many numbers forward in the box here either, to me.
Well, it depends whether, if it's a shot on goal, I think Skapetis. If it's a cross into the box, I think Carvalho.
As we see Skapetis have a hit. Trying to find a near post, but only finds the hands of Vidakangas, who goes to ground to try and run the clock down before we hit stoppage time. 44 gone, he scored 2-0. The Magic lead away from home over the Dandenong Thunder here at Duckland Stadium, as we see Stajewski going up the left-hand side. It finds Krasinski as the fourth official puts up 1 minute of added time. Kaczynski in the side of the ball here, and a bit of a tame shot there. Finds the hands of Pierce Clark, who throws it out to Carpenter. Looks for the switch. Great ball, finds Kieran Dover, who tries to find Brendan Barnes and eventually has hit its mark. El Marzi trying to win it, and has won it on the sideline there, throwing to the Thunder.
Yeah, they haven't been too bad since conceding that second goal, Dandenong Thunder, as a cross gets played into the box to Carpenter.
Edge of the box here, and it's gone over. Yeah, I think the Thunder have definitely come into their own a bit in this last 15 minutes of the first half here. Obviously, the opening 20-25 minutes wasn't the start that they would have been looking for at home on a Saturday night, but the Magic have sort of just settled into a bit of a comfortable pattern, you could say, and I think Lozanovsky biting his nails here in the near touchline below us, obviously wondering what's going on here, because the Thunder are actually getting quite a bit of possession now in the attacking third.
Yeah, when you look at both teams coaching, the benches, when you look at the coaching pedigree, Goran Lozanovsky, one of the most experienced coaches in Victorian football, of course, won championships at Preston and Northcote, as referee Yanis Zisas blows for half-time, up against one of the least experienced coaches in the competition, Veteran Kochari, who has made a good start to his life after playing, of course. 2-0 going into the break. Thoughts in the first half, Bryce?
Yeah, it was not a bad start there from Altona Magic, obviously going up 2 goals in the beginning, but the Thunder definitely coming back into it. The scoreboard hasn't changed. It's the half-time break sees the Altona Magic lead the Dandenong Thunder at Georgia Andrews Reserve 2-0. We'll be back after a short break in about 10-15 minutes. Welcome back for the second half here at George Andrews Reserve in Dandenong. Declan Stadium, the score currently in favour of the away side. Altona Magic 2, Dandenong Thunder 0, with no changes, it appears, Demir, at the half-time break.
Yeah, both sides looking unchanged, and I must say one of the great things about coming down here to Declan Stadium is you always get good half-time hospitality. Of course, we were just speaking with Daditon Maliku, who was the former president of Dandenong Thunder, and he was telling us how much that 2009 grand final defeat on penalties hurts for the club. So we have Hemming standing on the ball waiting for the referee's half-time whistle to blow.
Waiting to get underway here with action, and the referee blows his whistle. McGarry goes long to the far left side of the pitch, trying to find Kaczynski, and wins his team not a corner. It's been awarded a goal kick. I thought a late touch there from Mamachi, but referee has a different opinion there. You can keep your comments coming through as well anytime on the live stream, either on Facebook or YouTube. Plenty of comments coming through as well. Let us know. Avni, hopefully I've said your name right, said, "Let's go Thunder." They're going to need a bit of go this second half. They are trailing at the moment 2-0 with 2 early goals to Altona Magic, as Pierce Clark finds ahead of Ross Archibald, who tries to find Hemming, but goes down a strong challenge. Good 50-50 there, with the ball played out now to Cavallo. Just plays back to Modafiari. Turned over in the middle there from the Thunder. As both sides trying to find their feet in the second half. What do you expect in the opening moments here of the second half, Demir?
Well, you'd expect Thunder to come out strong, given that they are chasing the 2-0 deficit, as Dover tries to play a pass that's intercepted by Ruthwin. But he's won the ball back here, and I think, but there's a player down here for Altona Magic. I think it might be Dusan Bosniak, who did well to persevere and get an assist for that second goal, as we see a bit of a flashpoint between a few players, but it's been broken up there. Liram Elmazi acting as peacekeeper.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a habit in the under-20s in the opening rounds, a bit of argy-bargy between a few teams. We had the Dandenong, not the Thunder, we had the Bentley Greens last week, and Green Gully under-20s get into a bit of a heated moment, and obviously the Dandy City under-20s last weekend as well.
Yeah, and I think even last night, from watching the highlights, Pascoval and Port Melbourne got into a bit of a scrap at one stage, and even today at Green Gully, Dandenong City, there was a couple of red cards, which I'm yet to see, but Nick Kalmar, the former Dandenong City player, receiving his marching orders. It's also a former Altona Magic player who was part of that 2009 Altona Magic winning, VPL winning team, alongside many other players that we see in Victorian football nowadays, the likes of Nikola Roganovic as well. Of course, the South Melbourne goalkeeper. But I think a few concerns there on the Altona bench. Bosniak, of course, a big off-season signing for the club, but he will gingerly limp across the field. No signs yet as to whether they will make a change. And a drop ball will get us restarted.
We've also got another game underway at ABD Stadium between Hume City and Heidelberg. 8 minutes in, the score there at 0-0, so we'll keep you up to date with that across the remaining 45 minutes here from George Andrews Reserve. He's got the Thunder on the ball, trying to play it out. Finds Amachi, who finds Kieran Dover in the pocket there. Ruthven slips, but holds him up. Goes for a challenge in there, but Dover strong on the ball. Finds Amachi again, who's pushed forward into the corner. Finds ahead of Elmazi, who finds Ruthven, who clears his lines. The ball is spread wide to Christian Carvalho, who whips it in here with his left foot. Finds ahead of Archibald. Gives Magic the chance to step up here. Modafiari on the ball. Finds Georgopoulos in the middle. Skipetis. The Thunder just trying to force it there. Just Magic clearing their lines. Happy to reset. Get a bit higher up the pitch. As you see Blumgard on the ball.
Come on, boys! God's sake!
Thunder with a cheap turnover there to Kaczynski, who turns his man, finds Stajewski, who chips it down to Mikel Hemmen. Strong play. The Dandy Thunder fans obviously are not happy at the work rate there from Kieran Daver. Maybe a bit harsh, calling him a sponge.
Yeah, particularly after his goal last week. I think caught a lot of people off guard with his chip that turned into a goal past Sean Honos, and returned to Dandenong Thunder this season after a few years away. I mean, he's one of those that's a bit similar to Matt Miller in terms of began his senior career at Dandenong Thunder, went into the A-League with Melbourne Victory for a bit, even got a substitutes appearance in November 2014, but hasn't been seen in the A-League since, and he'll be looking to make his mark at Dackland Stadium this campaign as Noor has the ball, but it's a run out. We do have a question from Brett Farley in the comments section who asks, which two teams have the biggest historical derby in the NPL? I think when you look at teams like South Melbourne, Heidelberg particularly, you know, given the two are the two most historic Greek clubs in Victorian football. You also look at South Melbourne, Melbourne Knights, the two most successful clubs in Victorian football. And even, you know, Green Gully, when it comes to the state leagues, have been the most successful state league team with 9 titles to their name. They started their campaign, of course, against Altona Magic, who themselves have 5 VPL championships to their name. So there's definitely a lot of pedigree with these teams.
As the Magic have the ball but turn it over, ends up with Carvalho, who finds Stajewski, takes a big touch, finds Amachi on the near side here. Ball ends up with Ruthven. Plays it short to McGarry, who finds Kaczynski on the left-hand side to Bosniak. Gets into the 18-yard box, has a shot, but deflects out for a corner. I think 2 for 2019. It's we can add to the list the Dandenong derby as well. Obviously the first time that Dandy City have been in the top NPL league. Coming up, is that next week? Is that next week or a couple of weeks away from the Dandenong derby?
Yeah, I think it might be 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, because Dandenong City have a big game next Friday night against Melbourne Knights as McGarry looks to take another corner. Gee, they've had a lot of corners, Altona.
Yeah, haven't seen the stats pop up yet, but it would definitely have to be up around 5 to 7, I would dare say, as the ball ends up at the back with Ross Archibald, who whips it in, finds Sammy Noor, who drops it off to Hemmen, but couldn't get much power behind his shot. Clark tries to clear it over the halfway, finds ahead of Stajewski, who finds Skipetis in the middle. The ball spread wide, great ball out to left-hand side here. Finds Carpenter, couldn't just find his man, but wins the throw-in.
Yeah, to answer Brett's question, I think it's one of those that I would encourage him to reach out. I'm not sure if any of them are listening in to our coverage tonight, but if you can get a hold of guys like Paul Mavrudis, Mark Borich, Ian Sykes and Tony Pesoglia, who know their stuff when it comes to Victorian football and the history of it, I think it's a good question for them. As Altona cleared the ball away here.
If you do have any questions coming through, probably a good man to have in the commentary box with me tonight. As Hemmen goes down, but no foul one. Obviously, Demir Koulis, known as the encyclopedia of NPL football. As you see, Brendan Barnes here on the near side with the ball. Finds Skipetis on the edge of the 18-yard box. Has a shot with the left foot, but finds it Vidakangas. Good bit of attacking play there from the Thunder. The first of the half, obviously down 2-0. Chasing an early goal here in the second half, to try and turn the tide as we see Stajewski play a ball in to Kaczynski, who stays on side. Who finds Dusan Bosniak, but spreads it right over the crossbar.
Purple D18. Purple D18.
And as you might have heard, Purple D18 is the raffle ticket winner for this evening. Kieran Dover, of course, we mentioned he's back at Dandenong Thunder this season. His older brother Jack is actually one of the brightest young coaches in Victorian football, who's actually finds himself at Avondale this season overseeing their NPL coaching setup. So keep an eye out for Jack Dover over the next coming years. And I think Avondale have done a lot of good things, both in the, as we've seen with their seniors, but also in their NPL junior setup. I think they've got Brian Venegar, who former Richmond and Box Hill coach, managing their 18. So I think over the next few years, expect to see plenty of talent coming out of Avondale.
As we see the Thunder on the ball, trying to find Brendan Barnes, tries to turn his man, but lets it run over his foot through to Shane Vitakangas. As mentioned in the first half, his first start tonight in the NPL with Altona Magic as he tries to tempt Peter Skapetas to come on in. And he has done so. Skapetas coming right on up.
You might know this one, Bryce, but if memory serves me correct, Shane Vitakangas is a Kiwi?
I know him as a Queenslander from my time up there as well. And obviously with Troy playing with him for a couple of years at Palm Beach Sharks. But as far as I know, he's a Queenslander. If any of his family's watching the stream tonight, feel free to let us know. We're all about getting our facts right here in the NPL Victoria. As the ball's played long, finds Brendan Barnes, who gets in front of Almazi, turns him, gets onto his right peg, looks for the fast stick for Skapetas, but overhits it. Not happy Brendan Barnes with the run of Skapetas there. I think he might have been better off having a bit of a shot on target there. He wasn't too far away from the near post.
Yeah, Barnes was expecting Carpenter to make the run into the back post, but it never came. So, in hindsight, he probably will have fancied his chances had he taken a shot on goal there, given his prolific nature. I've gone on transfermarket.com, and according to it, Shane Vitakangas, his citizenship is as a Kiwi. So, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but that's where, from memory, I got my facts from. Sort of really feel that Dandenong Thunder need to make the most of one of the opportunities that they do get presented in front of goal, and they just need to be a bit more lethal, like they have been in the previous weeks. They just haven't been on form tonight in front of goal.
Yeah, you'd probably notice on the stream as well with the angle, but Skapetas is definitely coming a bit deeper in the second half, but he's actually leaving Brendan Barnes quite isolated up there. So they're playing the ball in the Barnes, but he's always got Archibald and Almazi on him straight away. So I suppose if I was part of the Dandenong Thunder coaching staff, I'd be advising Skapetas probably to sit a bit higher as well, because there is quite a large gap, which Altona Magic have got quite well covered, as we see a turnover there from Sammy Knorr. Plays it into Barnes. Again, isolated, and having to force that pass back and make a far run there. Don't think that's going to get him a goal that they're searching for.
No, it won't, and I think that, that should be looking to get Barnes, who does play off the shoulder, to long ball into him. Maybe he might test the youngster Almazi, who was one of Altona's best players last season. They have done so now as Barnes chases Archibald, but knocks him over, but Archibald gets back up on his feet, and Almazi goes in search of Kaczynski.
Yeah, and Kaczynski down in front of us here copped a bit of a whack in the back of the head there. The skipper Ruthven saying the same thing as well. You might have heard through the microphone. Obviously, Gordon Lozanovsky not happy with the challenge too. The Altona Magic questioning the decision. Daniel Kaczynski is staying down for the moment. Obviously, you can see his left hamstring heavily strapped as well, but Lozanovsky holding the ball, questioning the referee.
Yeah, and as expected, it's winning no sympathy from the Dandenong Thunder supporters out here on the bench side. Definitely over the years, Dackland Stadium, or George Andrews Reserve as it was previously known, has earned a reputation as being one of the most hostile home crowds in Victorian football, and suppose, when you compare it to some of the other fortresses across NPL Victoria, it'll certainly be right up there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what you want from your home ground advantage too, having the crowd support behind you, which they definitely get here most Saturday nights at George Andrews Reserves. As the ball's back into play, Stajovski to Almazi, who plays it back to Shane Vidakangas, who sprays it left. Gordon Lozanovsky not happy with the referee there, trying to get Kaczynski back on. I think that was the right move there by the referee there, not to let him straight back on. He's got Blumgard on the ball, looking for options in front of him. Ball comes out to Amachi, plays it into Kieran Dover, who just has a bit of a loose touch there. And Almazi cleans it up. Carpenter on the ball. Finds the feet of McGarry, not what he was looking for there, that's for sure. Richardson. Ruthven, who sprays it left.
Yeah, we are copying a bit of grief, or I am copying a bit of grief for not mentioning Preston Lions in the, one of the biggest derbies in Victorian football when you consider them and South Melbourne and the fierce clashes that they've had over the years. And I must admit, I'm one that can't wait to see them back into the top flight of Victorian football.
Yeah, definitely one of the strong teams in the State League. As Blumgard sends it wide to Kieran Dover down the right-hand side here. Up against Stajevski, one-on-one. Trying to find his way into the 18, puts the ball in. Looking for Brandon Barnes, who can't find his man. Ends up with Dover. Keeps it in. He's got Kaczynski on his back. Plays the back heel to Amachi, who puts the ball in, sprays it to Almazi, who can't clear it properly. Kaczynski jumps. Ends up with Kieran Dover, who goes down looking for a foul. Referee waves it away. Amachi forcing it back. Nice bit of play there from the Thunder. Just keeping the ball. It's what we should probably see a bit more of, I suppose, this second half. The Thunder really looking to force the issue in that first half, and didn't work for them, obviously being 2 down on the scoreboard at the moment. Just keeping the ball here. Bit more patient now from the Thunder. And as we say that, he sprays it straight to Magic.
Yeah, who'd also turn over the ball as Carpenter whips in the ball, but Almazi is there to head it away, and it'll safely find its way into the feet of Vidakangas. Barnes will chase, but to no avail there. And it's been a much improved showing in defense from Altona Magic. You feel like that they've got it right tonight with Richardson a right back and Almazi shifting into the centre where he's the left-sided centre back. Archibald has had a solid performance in the heart of the Magic defence as ball breaks through to Boschniak, who looks for Kaczynski but can't find him.
Mikel Hemman trying to win the ball there. But turned over to Skapetis, who's got a lot of space here. Plays the ball straight into Brendan Barnes. Ruthven tracks back, but Barnes turns him. Finds Blumgart, tries to force the ball, but only finds the centre-back in Almazi. McGarry on the ball with a lot of space here. Crosses the halfway. Kaczynski. Called offside. Player's not happy, but probably the right call there to me.
Yeah, weren't, too many complaints from the Magic bench overall, and I think that they're just looking for to get the right combination going forward. Altona Magic, they haven't been as successful this half going forward as they were in that opening bonanza of the first half. As North flicks it to McGarry, but his pass will not find a runner as Pierce Clark mops up and throws the ball out to Jack Musgrave. To Blumgard. Out wide here to Marche. But Almazi, heavy touch.
Yeah, heavy touch, as Demir said. Ends up with Skapetis. Takes on Sammy Norbert, gets ahead of him there. Spreads the ball left to Carvalho. Back to Skapetis. Looking for a turnover there, the Magic, but I'll just give it away through Ruthven. And the ball falls to the back stick. No one there waiting. Ball played forward to Kaczynski. Gets around his man, but it's fouled. by Armachi. Professional foul, that one there, Demir. I think Kaczynski was away there.
Yeah, it's another one of those team fouls there. He takes one for the team as I think it's Dandenong Thunder here who's preparing to bring on their first change of this evening. It's interesting, Omar Marche has spent, he's been in the starting 11 3 times this season, and all 3 times he's been Thunder's right back, which is a position that we're not accustomed to seeing him, given that he was previously a wide forward / winger at both Oakley Cannons and Avondale. Of course, he comes back to Victorian football after a stint in the lower leagues of Spain in Murcia.
As we see Ruthven give away a free kick, obviously not happy with that, and McGarry has something to say in the background too and earns himself a yellow card for his choice of words.
Yeah, when it comes to Altona making a change, given that they've got the likes of now Mosky on the bench, you'd think that maybe McGarry might be, with that yellow card, finding himself on the substitutes bench sometime soon, as Barnes has the ball here.
Carvalho trying to beat his man, does get through, goes to ground, referee waves play on. Another man goes down for Thunder, he waves get up as well. The Thunder player's not happy, but obviously Ross Archibald not shy of words in that instant.
I think there was a bit of contact on Carvalho, but he just might not have been enough to force him to go down, or he didn't go down himself. He chose to stay on his feet. I think Carpenter was more so looking for it, as we see the Thunder preparing to bring on Luke Gallo, the 2017 NPL Rising Star winner, into the game for that man there, Blake Carpenter, who's had a bit of a quieter evening compared to his last few weeks.
He's not a bad shift there from Carpenter, not happy as he comes off. If you've just joined us, we had 2 early goals this evening here at George Andrews Reserve from Altona Magic. Currently lead 2-0, but Thunder with a few chances in the early stages here of the second half as Hemmon brings the ball down, finds Semi Noor, who finds Bosniak. Back to Noor. Just holds the ball up. Finds McGarry. Puts the ball in looking for Hemmon, but is intercepted by the centre-backs of Thunder. Ball played long here to Brandon Barnes. Holds the ball up, attracting the attention of Almazi. Sprays the ball, but just can't find his mark there. Lozanovsky there calling for a handball from Gullo, but obviously the referee is waved play on. Vidakangas plays it out to Almazi. Just looking to keep the ball at the back here. Spreads it wide to Archibald. Finds Richardson. Goes for the subtle turn, but just puts it out of play.
Yeah, game sort of hit a bit of a lull here. Neither side threatening to really create anything of note, but let's see if that will change as Georgopoulos plays the ball out to Amache.
You can see the Thunder now, they're trying to play as the ball comes out. The linesman hasn't called that. Now we're right in front of that, and I'm pretty confident that ball actually did cross the white line.
Do remember, Bryce, the whole of the ball must be over the line, as Felix Bry himself, the German referee, found out this week with that Real Madrid Ajax game that while replays did appear to show that the referee had crossed the line, not all of it was over the line. So we do never know with those ones unless you have the replays at hand, which we of course don't. But yeah, I mean, that's the other interesting thing that streaming does. It allows fans to rewind back and forth. And Joey Lynch, who we did have in the comment section saying hi to us before, he actually was at the Melbourne City game earlier today, and he did note to us that apparently Joe Palacides, the Melbourne City youth team coach, actually was waiting to go into the referee's dressing rooms to show him a replay of a decision that he believes that they got incorrect. So it'll be interesting to see if more coaches opt for such tactics as the season goes on.
It is the NPL Victoria's version of the VAR in 2019. Of course, every game live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. We have got a goal in the other match going on at the moment between Hume City and Heidelberg at ABD Stadium. An early goal, 16th minute, to James Brown. course, former Gold Coast United Newcastle Jet, putting an absolute rocket into the bottom left-hand corner to give Hume City a 1-0 lead over the Burgers. As we see a ball to the back stick here, put across the face, cleared by Ruthven, gives Magic the chance to get up. Carvalho trying to get it wide. Spreading it to Kieran Dover. Blumgart. On to Dover. The Thunder just trying to work it around the box. Opportunity there to shoot, but not taking the chance to pull the trigger as the ball goes out to the left. A ball whipped in, and it ends up with a Dandy Thunder corner.
Yeah, I must say James Brown has had an excellent start to his campaign. I believe that's goal number, 4 of the season. He got a couple on opening day here against Dandenong Thunder, and he's continued his good form, as have the likes of Hamish Watson, Valentino Uwal from the Bentley Greens. You'd imagine those three, and maybe even Tasuki Sakai, would be probably players of the month so far of the opening 4 rounds of the season.
Don't forget, you can keep your comments coming through as the corner is taken from the Thunder. Ends up with Blumgart. Elmazi wins the challenge. Ends up with Sammy Knorr on the touchline. Elmazi continuing forward here. Skapitas coming in for a late challenge. Waves Elmazi away, and the Danny Thunder fans give him a bit of a spray as well.
And we had a couple of early goals in this game here tonight. Here at Dackland Stadium, but we've also had 3 early goals at the A-League fixture tonight between the Central Coast Mariners and Wellington Phoenix, which of course Teo Pellizzeri is commentating on, and we have the Wellington Phoenix 3 goals up against the hapless Mariners with a Samuel Graham own goal, Roy Krishna and David Williams, the other goal scorers. So a good result so far for Mark Cruden's Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah, he has had a successful start to his professional coaching campaign. As we see Kaczynski coming in here, gets a shot off, and Pearce Clark with a one-handed save. Ball going top left-hand corner, but a good little save there.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of those great reaction saves from Clark over the opening 4 rounds of this campaign, and that was another example of him. Kaczynski thought he must have had his second for the night, but Clark gets out a strong hand to that to divert it away for a corner kick.
Kaczynski has recovered well from that earlier foul about 10 minutes ago in front of the screen here. We've got McGarry lining up to take the corner. Good numbers in the box of Magic. The 2 hands go up, the ball comes in. And it finds the head of a Danny Thunder with the ball at Ruthven's feet. Has a shot off the left peg, half volley, but sprays it over the crossbar.
Yeah, still yet to see, I mean, apart from that Kaczynski opportunity, we haven't had too many clear-cut chances on goal as Thunder have failed to really muster anything of significant note in this half. But, you know, look, it can all change within a matter of seconds. You might get yourself a goal back. The other team might, you know, be a man down if there's a red card. So you can never say never, as Altona look to bring another change, and think looks like it's going to be Sam Mitchelson who will be thrown into the fray.
Yeah, probably expecting a swap there for Richardson at right back. Obviously, his first start on the bench for the 2019 campaign, Mitchelson has been solid without being great. Obviously, results haven't gone their way, and Lozanowski saw a need to change things, and it's worked tonight in his side's favour, obviously leading at 2-0 at the moment on the scoreboard. With the ball ending up at Gallo's feet here on the right touchline. In the middle to Blumgart. Sprays it left. Finds Carvalho. Looking for options in front. Whips it in. But no one at the back stick. Brandon Barnes just caught on his toes there.
And we did speak about some of the standout performers across the opening 4 rounds of the NPL. One of the standout performers of this round has to surely be Dandenong City midfielder Anthony Polyak, who scored a hat-trick today for Dandenong City to get their first win in the top flight. Heard much about him. He's a Queenslander, albeit a young Queenslander, who moved to Victoria earlier in the off-season, actually, from Rochdale Rovers.
Yeah, no, Rochdale being one of the stronger clubs in the QPL last year. Obviously, he's got a few years younger on myself. from my playing time up in Queensland. But as we've said, there's a lot of interstate players coming across. UL over at Bentley Greens this year, coming over from Adelaide. Alexander as well.
Yeah, Alex Salmon at Green Gully, who's come across from Inglewood United in Perth, and he's had a great start to the campaign as well. 4 goals from 4 games. So, that's one of the things that all, a lot of people might take note of Elvis Kamsoba's trajectory into the A-League from interstate, coming into Victorian football, shining, particularly last season for Avondale. With that tremendous FA Cup campaign and also league campaign, despite the way it ended with in a grand final defeat to Heidelberg United. But just wanted to ask you a question, Bryce. For a lot of our Victorian viewers, we don't, I guess, have the best of gauges when it comes to assessing the quality of football in Queensland, because I guess it's common knowledge that I guess Victoria and New South Wales are probably the 2 best leagues outside the A-League. Victoria might be a bit of bias here, probably edges it out in my opinion. But how would you compare the quality of Victorian football to that of Queensland?
Yeah, as you see, a substitution here for Altona Magic. Sammy Knorr coming off. Looks like Mitchinson will go into his... He's going to end up on the left-hand side here, Kaczynski going to the right. In terms of the Queensland NPL, look, it's... Comparing it to Victoria, I think you've got New South Wales and Victoria, definitely the 2 stronger ones, but it's also a different style of game in Queensland. I think it's more of a running game. That's why you see players like Ruben Way, for example. You get other players like Matty Thurtell. They're great runners. Chris Lucas, too, when he was at Bentley. He's now gone back up to Brisbane Olympic and doing good things up there this season. But you've got players like that, and that's the sort of calibre up in Queensland where they're coming down, and it's a different style of game, but they're actually adapting quite well. And I think Victorian coaches are John Anastasiadis, obviously Goran Lozanovsky here, got a few Queenslanders in this squad here at Magic. As we said, the ball played forward here to Kaczynski. Cuts in on his left foot, and the ball's blocked. Hemmond slides in. We've got a Danny Thunder player staying down, and he's pulled it back for a free kick, and also a yellow card to Mikel Hemmond, the international as well. But yeah, the Queenslanders, they're doing well down here. I think you'll probably see it trickle through where we get a few more coming down in the next couple of years as well. The interesting thing I see is not too many players from New South Wales coming down as well.
Yeah, I think that's got to do with the similar wages on offer in both Victoria and New South Wales. I guess it makes it a bit harder for a lot of players from New South Wales to come to Victoria, but we've had a few this year. Avondale have recruited Tatsuki Sakai and Brandon Lundy. South Melbourne have Dean Beraveskos in their side as well. And we've got a bit, keeping up the international flavour that we've got in the comments. Of course, we've got Kirsten Webb, who's watching the game from the UK, regularly watches the Thunder. I assume, that might be another family or friend of Brandon Barnes. We've also got Liliana Knezovic, who's watching from Belgrade, and also Jordan Templant, the Langwarren midfielder, who's saying, good to see Luke Gallo play against Shane Vidakangas. Seen them battle a few times in training, of course, the former bullying contingent there. Ned has actually said, went a couple of weeks ago to Queensland, and he believes it's nowhere near Victorian football. Redlands couldn't play State 2, he reckons.
Yeah, look, Redlands are one of the teams this year that are quite struggling. They've had a bit of a transition where they had a great coach. They had a Kiwi coach a few years back, and he actually left and went to the newly developed FQPL, which is the second tier, the NPL2 equivalent. Took a fair few players left and looked for greener pastures, you could say, under the new coaching style setup that they had. They're actually my former coach for Central Queensland FC when we were in the NPL. Actually went down as a technical director, so hoping for his sake that they haven't gone because of him, because he was a great coach. But we see the ball whipped in here to the back stick. But yeah, Redlands are one of those sides in Queensland at the moment that are struggling. I think to say they wouldn't compete in State 2 is a bit harsh. They've obviously got a young squad, and give them a year or two to blossom, they'll be up there.
And I believe they're managed by former Wellington Phoenix defender, Brazilian Kleberson. Also in their 20s, their coach is Danny Knidic, who used to coach Ballarat City and the Moreland Zembras, amongst others.
Yeah, well, the former coach that I had that's now technical director there was from Leicester City as well, so they've definitely got a great coaching setup at Redlands, but obviously trying to promote juniors. As you see Mitchinson on the ball, he whip a ball into the back stick finds the head of Georgioski. The ball out on the right-hand side to McGarry. Whips it back stick, trying to find Kaczynski. Heads it back across, but can't find Bosniak. And the ball ends up with Luke Gallagher on the near touchline. Stajewski wins the ball and obviously wins his side of a throw in here.
Yeah, ricocheted off Gallo, and thank you for the feedback in the comments as well, Tom. Keep your comments coming because we are live and interactive. It is a Saturday night, so the numbers are quite good both here in the stadium and also at home. As we see Ruthven with the ball. But yeah, I guess you get a discrepancy in quality, you might say, in Queensland.
As you see Hemming on the ball, Lozanovski's getting out for Hemming to hit it, and the offside flag has been raised. And Hemming puts a late finish in, but it won't count towards the scoreboard.
Yeah, to further my point, I guess you see a bit of a discrepancy in quality in Queensland from what I've heard. Bryce, you definitely have some of the stronger teams like Lions FC, Olympic FC, Brisbane Strikers and so on. And then particularly some of the, I guess you can say, more regional teams that find it a bit tough going given, you know, the travel that they have to do, of course. Unfortunately, we did have Cairns FC, who were previously known as Far North Queensland Heat, called time on their stint in the NPL over the off-season. And I think Palm Beach Sharks, your brother's former club, is also another one that hit hard times over the last few seasons.
Yeah, there has been a couple of clubs up that way. And the regional factor is a big thing in Queensland. Obviously, I spent a couple of years with CQ Energy, and you're on a flight every second weekend to fly to Brisbane to go and play. So obviously that cost isn't cheap. As we see a substitution here from both sides coming up. You might know this one, Demi.
I believe that is a Queenslander coming on in Jake Kushieri. Number 12 for Altona Magic, who is about to enter the field of play, is Robert Naumoski. So Kushieri is going to come on for Giannis Georgopoulos. Yet to hear who Naumoski is going to come on for. Do you remember much about Kushieri when he was in Queensland? I think he was there up until 2017.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he was with the Brisbane Strikers when we played him, and he was a solid youngster coming through the ranks there, and I think had been around a couple of other clubs in Brisbane, but obviously has had a good start since making a move down here to Victoria. Obviously, it's a well-known fact that a lot of Queenslanders are making the switch down here. Obviously started by the Bentley Greens a couple of years back where they housed, I think it was about 9 at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of them, and even though you're an adopted Queenslander yourself, as we see Mitchinson win a foul here. Yeah, the Queensland contingent is growing in this league. I mean, Piers Clark has been another great addition. The opposition goalkeeper, Vidakangas, has been here for a few years, and we'll probably see a whole lot more of them coming into the competition in the years to come, given the success of the current crop.
Ball played off by McGarry, finds Ruthven, who finds McGarry again. Plays it into Mitchinson, who gets the ball back, but doesn't quite cross the line. Gives a chance for Kashiri. Plays it wide. Finds Amachi. Back to Kashiri again, who finds long, but only finds Elmazi. He's got a bit of time on the ball here. Plays it forward. In the Bosniak. McGarry goes down, but the referee waves play on. Vidakangas off his line. We've got an attempt from quite a distance, but Vidakangas has time to bring it down off his chest. It's actually a game tonight up in the NPL Queensland, Demir, top of the table. A couple of rounds, and we've got Peninsula Power taking on new side into the NPL Queensland, Gold Coast Knights, obviously of Croatian background, and the Power are currently leading that 2-1, which, if anyone knows the NPL down here, we've got a couple of former NPL Victoria players now at the Gold Coast Knights, as we see Hennon hit the Bosniak hit the crossbar.
Yeah, an opportunity missed there for Altona Magic to, put the final nail in the coffin and come away here with all 3 points. Who are the two players? I know Andrew Barisic is still up there. He was a very prolific goal scorer for the Melbourne Knights. Had a 2-season stint in the A-League with the Gold Coast United. Is the other one Daniel Dragicevic?
Yeah, Dragicevic, yeah. He's back at the Gold Coast Knights as well. Coming on as a bit known this year so far as a bit of a super sub, actually.
Few comments coming in. Nate, who is a passionate Thunder supporter, saying watching Thunder is like watching Arsenal at the moment. Sideways, sideways, backwards, backwards. There seems to be a disconnect between the forwards and midfielders. Altona launch across into the box.
And finds Namovsky. Couldn't quite connect to that ball, but Altona Magic with the ball still. We've got a corner here. Got two players over the ball. Looking to add to the scoreboard with 6 minutes remaining. The current score, Altona Magic with 2 early goals if you missed it in the first half. Ruthven and the second goal as a corner is looking to play it short, but the Thunder aren't letting that happen. Ball played in. Finds Mitchinson on the left foot, has a shot, bit of power, but straight into the hands of Pierce Clark. Looks to get rid of the ball pretty quickly. Looking to find Kieran Dover. One-on-one with Richardson at the back, who puts it on to field number 2 here at George Andrews Reserve.
Yeah, and you spoke a bit about Paisley Park Soccer Complex and the struggles that the Magic occasionally have, making that a home fortress and the ground being a bit uneven, as one of our viewers commented on. The, George Andrews Reserve, as it was formerly known, wasn't always the pristine surface that it is now, as a ball gets played in to Kaczynski.
Just holding up in the corner, attracting the attention of the Dandenong Thunder. And Winsley's side are throwing in quite an attacking zone with just over 4 minutes remaining before added time. The Magic trying to slow things down a little bit, sending the right back in Richardson all the way up to the corner flag to take a throw in. Don't forget, we have got other games going on at the moment. Hume City and Heidelberg. The current score there, Hume City up 1-0 with a goal. Apparently an absolute screamer from former A-League player James Brown, as we see another corner won by the Altona Magic.
Yeah, Hume City and Melbourne Knights really the two surprise packets so far this campaign. Both, I wouldn't say that either of those two teams were highly fancied in the off-season. The Knights got some good late additions from interstate and overseas, the likes of Gian Albano and Hamish Watson, and they've done well as McGarry prepares to take this one.
He whips it into the near post, but can only find the feet of Kashiri. Bit of time for Mitchinson, who hasn't attempted a goal. He's won it, and it's ended up in a goal there. We've got Sam Mitchinson with a goal there. 87th minute, the score 3-0 to the Magic and the boys from Altona, going to be going across the Westgate Bridge with 3 points in the bag and their first win of the 2019 campaign.
Yeah, they've just been too good, and it's another example of perseverance there from Mitchinson there, who gets his first goal of the campaign, and as Thunder bring on Mohammed Faizi for Brandon Barnes. Probably signals that the game is over, and Thunder look to give a few minutes to a youngster.
Yeah, Brendan Barnes coming off, something that you don't see all too often in the NPL Victoria. Not too happy by the looks of it too. We've also got an update too on the score. Harry Nunes scored a penalty for Heidelberg, so the current score at ABD Stadium, 1-1 between Hume and the Burgers. 2 minutes remaining here. At George Andrews Reserve, the score 3-0 to Altona Magic. A better showing from the Dandy Thunder, not what we've seen the last couple of rounds from the guys in black and red, but a bit disappointing as we see a couple of fans leaving in the background to try and make the traffic home. But I suppose go back to round 1 here against Hume City. A similar performance in a way.
Yeah, very much so. They just haven't been at the races tonight, as Bosch now attempts to play through Kaczynski, but it just has too much on it, and that will be his last action of this evening, as he's going to be replaced by David Trajanowski, the youngster. But yeah, for those of you that also are unfamiliar with either Dandenong Thunder or Dackland Stadium, I guess one of the advantages that it has is that a lot of the Thunder fans are actually located within the vicinity of the ground, given that where they live. Of course, a large Albanian population here in Dandenong South. So that's probably one thing that contributes to such a formidable atmosphere here at times. But the Altona Magic have definitely silenced it here tonight.
Well, the Thunder did have a good period at the start of the second half, but the sail has definitely dried up. No wet sail up now, only the smoke haze here around southeast Melbourne from the fires out towards Bunyip and the Latrobe Valleys. We see Kashiri spread the ball to the left-hand side here. Looking for an option. Thunder player's not happy with what's in front of him. Skapetis on the ball, plays it forward, finds Kieran Dover, turns his player. Ball ends up with Kashiri. Regards the ball on the left-hand side. Looking to whip it in with the left foot. Gets onto his right, and the same response as it was with the left. Skapetis. And we've had a penalty here. Dubious call from the referee here. The Altona Magic players aren't all that thrilled. Goran Lozanovski obviously not agreeing with this one as well, Demir.
Yeah, they're definitely not happy. I must admit, I didn't have the best of views in it. Didn't think that, from what I saw, the Altona player could do really too much about it, but the referee has a different opinion, as we see a bit of argy-bargy between two sides. Nothing too wild. There's Skapetis won't be taking a penalty. It looks like it's going to be Kieran Dover.
Yeah, and their regular penalty taker, who won't be definitely happy to see this, Brandon Barnes, substituted only moments ago. As Demir said, Kieran Dover on the ball. Vitikanga's hoping to keep a clean sheet in stoppage time here. 3 minutes to go. Kieran Dover lining up. And he puts it away to give the home fans something to cheer about, as the Thunder fans giving it to Goran Lozanovski. Sung out before, clean sheet, and the fans are letting him know that there's no clean sheet going back to Paisley Park tonight.
Yeah, and Lozanovski laughs it off. Looks like it'll only be a consolation goal for the Dandenong Thunder. It's difficult to imagine them mounting an inspired comeback from this position, but who knows? They're still arguing with the referee about the awarding of that penalty. Altona Magic not quite happy to have conceded naturally.
Yeah, I think in the scheme of the things, the way the second half is played, I think they should just look at moving on from there as the ball ends up with Ruthven in the middle of the park. He's got a bit of space, plays it right. That's Nomovsky. Great ball out to the right-hand side. Nomovsky going one-on-one at the Dandenong Thunder defence. Finding Ruthven, who looks for the wall pass. Doesn't receive it again. Goes out to Nomovsky. Tries to whip it in, but gets blocked by the Thunder. Kieran Dover on the ball. Looking to play it high. But El Marzi just says, we'll just get rid of it down the other end of the pitch. And Mitchinson trying to chase it down, but to no effect. The referee has a look at his watch. Three minutes of stoppage time. Almost played. Ruthven with the header. Plays it out to Gallo. El Marzi again. Just trying to clear the lines. Thunder trying to get it forward, but with no one out on the left-hand side. Richardson trying to find Kaczynski, but Pearce Clark collects, distributes out to his centre-back, spreads it wide to Amachi. Ends up with Gallo. Bit of a miscommunication there from the Thunder. Gallo looking for options. Finds one in Blumgard, who will spread the ball left. A fair bit of space here for the Thunder. Maybe a late consolation goal again a second. Skapetis holding it up. Putting the ball back stick. Just overhits it over the 18-yard box. And Gallo wins his side. A throw-in. With our time almost wrapping up here, Demir, what have you made of this round 4 clash as we see Ruthven clear the ball? And the full-time whistle blown by referee here at George Andrews Reserve. The final score, Altona Magic 3, the home side Dandenong Thunder 1. The Altona Magic picking up their first 3 points of the season, Demir.
Yeah, they were just a better team across the 90 minutes. They were first to the ball more often. They just wanted more. They persevered in a lot of the instances, never gave up on the ball, and that's how they scored 2 of the goals. Obviously, it helped with that early Ruthven goal that deflected into the back of the net. I think he'll no doubt be claiming that one. Boschniak did well with the second one to find Kaczynski, who placed it well into low into the side of the net. Side of the goal, and then with the third goal from Mitchelson coming late on. And despite Kieran Dover's late penalty, it proved to be no more than a mere consolation for him. I thought the Thunder, it was a return to their old habits tonight. I don't think that they had the best 90 minutes of football by any stretch. They struggled to, unlock the Altona Magic defence on numerous instances, and they probably lacked the penetration and precision in the final third, whether it was, with their shots or whether it was really getting that final fruit ball into one of their attackers to really hurt Altona Magic. But having said that, I thought the Altona Magic was superb tonight. They definitely looked much better defensively. I know Loznovsky might be a bit disappointed not to have kept the clean sheet given how late they conceded, but overall I think that it's a promising performance from Altona Magic, and they'll hope that it'll build some momentum and be a taste of things to come.
Yep, a clinical display in the first half from the Altona Magic has seen them defeat the Dandenong Thunder away from home, collecting their first 3 points of the season at 3-1. On behalf of myself, Bryce Ruthven and Demir Koulis, we thank you for joining us tonight here at George Andrews Reserve. And don't forget, there is another match on at the moment. Flick across to a different channel, Hume City and Heidelberg.
Yep, once again, thank you for being with us this evening on another night of Victorian football action. And if you'd like, feel free to join me on Labour Day, myself and Michael Thompson, as well as Rowan McNamee, as we commentate the Kingston City Oakley Cannons clash, which will be a bit of a desperation derby between those two teams, given that I think that they're the only two who are yet to pick up a win, given the fact that Altona Magic, Port Melbourne and Dandenong City have all won this weekend.
Plenty of great action ahead, and we'll be sure to join you in the upcoming weeks here on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube live stream. Goodbye for now.